Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to your August connection session. I am Princess India. Okay. If you're new and if you're family, welcome back, my friend. I guess we could just go with that. Okay. So we're going to be looking at an energy, well, the energy, not an energy, the energy between you and a person of interest. And then we're getting into a more specific spread where we're going to be looking at how your person of interest thinks as well as feels about you, Scorpio. So I hope you've been doing fine since the last time I've seen you and whatnot or whatever. So anywho, the overall energy representing my Scorpios for the month of August. Interesting. Just making sure there's no naked people. We have the Ace of Cuppies in the reverse. So what is it looking like, Scorpio? There's a little bit of disappointment here in reference to your person of interest. So whether it's, with them or in some aspect of your relationship, there is something that Scorpio was hoping to work out in a particular way that isn't quite panning out the way that you hoped. So there's a level of disappointment here. And I mean, this could go a myriad of different ways, and I won't waste your time trying to dig too much into it because I mean, the rest of the cards are going to tell us that. But overall, just the energy that you guys are in August is a level of disappointment because, something didn't quite pan out the way that you hoped it would on an emotional level. Now, with your person of interest, interesting, they are showing up as the Strength card, and that is Leo energy. So if your person is a Leo, definitely check out Leo's connection session. That was rather interesting. But anywho, with your person of interest, they're more or less holding themselves back, but not, I don't want to necessarily say in the sense of holding themselves back from you. It's just more or less they are staying even keeled. They're staying tempered. They're not allowing themselves to, be reactionary in this particular situation. There's a lot going on underneath with them. I can tell you that, but it's just more or less them feeling it's not the time nor place for them to respond from that particular place. I was going to say emotionality, but I don't necessarily feel that that's appropriate. But I can tell you how it is that they're presenting themselves to you, or how it is that they're behaving in, this connection, how it is that they're showing up. It's a great deal of restraint that's being implemented by them in order to show up that way. So I don't know if maybe Scorpio, you may feel that your person of interest doesn't care very much, or they're unbothered. That's not the case at all. It's a lot that's going on underneath. So I don't know. Came up before for someone else. So I don't know if they're going through some sort of behavior modification, like if they're in therapy, they just got woo-woo, you know what I'm saying, that they're trying to change something about themselves. But it's a very stark contrast here to how this person would have reacted to this in the past is a whole nother way than how it is that they're showing up now. You know what I mean? And, oh, girl. It's like Alexa be knowing when I'm recording, bro. I swear. It's like all of the time that has passed. Really? Oh my God. All the time that passes between these connection sessions, homegirl don't say a word. It's like soon as the camera come on, it's like, let me, I want to be heard. Anyway, moving right along. But how this person would have responded in the past, and that's whether you knew this person past tense or not, it's a stark contrast of how it is that they're reacting now. But I do feel, in a sense, they're kind of overcompensating a bit. So that's how I feel that this could kind of come off as them being unbothered. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to make sure that they're not reactionary, in so many words. But I do kind of get the sense from Scorpio that because there isn't any type of, rebuttal or reaction, it can kind of lead Scorpio to feel like they don't care, which is kind of adding to this disappointment. Now, the energy between the two of you, we have the Three of Swords in the reverse here. And that's interesting. The first thing I heard with this, which is Weird. Don't really know where that applies. But the first word I heard is jealousy. So I don't know if maybe that, I don't know if there's someone else involved in this situation, Scorpio, or maybe there's a past person that's involved in, like, and meaning in the sense, like, not necessarily saying that either one of you is dealing with someone else, but I don't know if like a person came back in the pictures or something along those lines. And just to kind of give you an example of what this could look like is, you're talking to this person and say this person has a kid with someone else, and like, the baby mama, baby daddy moved, back into town or something like that, or I don't know, somebody died in the family and they're like around, and that kind of causing some sort of unrest in reference to that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to necessarily say that somebody flat out cheated. It feels to me more like a suspicion of somebody dealing with someone else, or maybe an insecurity in reference to an ex potentially. Another way that I could see this is this having been something that both of you um have experienced, past tense and past connections, and something happening to where, like, and that's why I say it doesn't necessarily mean that like this actually happened. It could be something to where it seemed that way, you know what I mean? And one or both of you are potentially jumping to conclusions. Now, with your person of interest, I would say this is a good thing that they're holding themselves back, because say like if they have a history of being cheated on, something happened with you to where it seemed like you could have potentially been cheating, they would be the person past tense that would have jumped to conclusions and just completely wrote it off. But with them, if that were the case, it's not to say that they aren't thinking it or that they're not having this whole like, emotional pressure cooker happening inside of them. But with them restraining themselves, they're not reacting, if that's making sense. So it's a couple of different things that I'm seeing overall of how this could be manifesting between the two of you. The good thing I can say with the Three of Swords in the reverse is you guys have an opportunity at this juncture to be able to heal past this. You know what I'm saying? So if you wanted this to progress forward, this is more or less a need for a conversation and clarity, and for both of you to kind of express where your headspace is at with this. And there's the potential to be able to heal this, but without any communication, it's really not going to help. And I can see that there could potentially not be communication between the two of you, because if this person is trying to, Lord hold their mule, to keep from flashing. And if Scorpio is in this place of like disappointed and feels like, everything is fucked, you know what I'm saying? And you're internalizing that, then that kind of leaves you guys in a place to where you can kind of stagnate out here, if that's making sense. Now, getting into your more specific spread, their first card in their fleeting thoughts, we have, we have the Four of Wands in the reverse. Then we have, good God, we have the Three of Swords in the reverse that came up with Capricorn. I don't think my autofocus is going to be a nice machine. Okay, there we go. The Three of Wands in the reverse. And then we have, good God, this came up for Capricorn too. We have there we go. The Page of Swords. And then in their conscious thoughts, oh, geez, Louise, we have the Hierophant in the reverse. Okay, what's happening? We have the Hierophant in the reverse, and that is Taurus energy. So here is the dealing of Scorpio. So in your person's fleeting thoughts, it's a lot of disaster thinking. I would say it's very similar to the energy that you guys are in of feeling. And I mean, dang, y'all gonna tell me in the comments, like, what is it that actually happened here? Because it feels to me like something happened, something pretty big happened, but I do feel that it's like something happened, but I feel like the takeaway on both sides isn't the right one. It's a very one-sided perspective, which is why I say communication would behoove both of you, because whatever transpired, both of your perspectives are like polarized. And both of you have 50% of the story, but I feel both of you are looking at it as like 100% of the story when there's a lot of missing pieces to this. But anywho, with this Four of Wands in the reverse, it's more or less their perception towards you is whatever foundation this person felt that the two of you had, it's like on shaky ground. It's almost like a complete shift in perspective. Like, what I thought this was, what I thought we had, it isn't that anymore. You feel what I'm saying? It's a desire to want to move past this with the Three of Wands and move forward with this, but I feel like it's an unrealistic expectation. It's almost, it's expecting to have clarity or assuming that one has clarity on this situation without having a conversation with you about it. So it's a whole lot of assumptions, if I could say it that way. So of course, we can't necessarily describe or have insight into anything that we have not observed. You know what I'm saying? And I feel your person did not physically with their own two eyeballs see anything. It's bits and pieces of information that they have with whatever it is that we're talking about, Scorpio. And it's them coming to a conclusion with that. And that's why I say it's disaster thinking. You feel what I'm saying? And even with this page of swords, it's like a very immature, inadvertent way of accessing information or truth. You know what I mean? It's almost kind of like how can I say this? It's like if a person were to ask you, because I don't know what you would call that, if a person were to assume that you weren't where you say that you were, it's like, so what'd you do last night? Right? Like the person told you that they were going home and going to bed, but a friend saw them like out at, a bar with their friends, whatever. And they don't know that you know this, but it's like going to the person and be like, so what did you do last night? And not having any other information other than the fact they were there, you don't know who they were with. And if the person doesn't lie, it's like, oh, I went to, this bar last night. Oh, that's funny because I thought you said that you were going home. And it's like, oh, yeah, I was, but, such and such called me. So, I was already on the way. So I figured, like, why not just stop there? And it's like, oh, that's interesting. You know what I'm saying? So not getting to the point. So there's an element of this that's happening in the communication between the two of you where it's not direct communication. It's not saying what you're thinking. It's not saying what you're feeling, but it's very inadvertent ways of trying to get to said truth. But what I can tell you from my objective standpoint is, like I always say, you can't solve a problem with the same mind that created it. So if you already have your mind fixated on like this person was lying. So if we go back to like the whole bar example, it's like this person is a liar and they're probably cheating on me. If that's what your period at the end of the sentence is, then you are going to create that narrative. You feel what I'm saying? Like you're always going to find what it is that you're looking for, even if it's not even there. You feel what I'm saying? But what your person is kind of weighing is that all of this stuff is happening in your relationship. There's a level of rushing things forward too soon. There's a level of impatience here. There's a level of a lack of direction of where it is that we're going. It's a level of disappointment to where at one point in time, everything seems stable and cool. Now it's suddenly not that, not really sure, what it is that's happening here. It's like, the picture I see that's developing with your person of interest towards you is almost feeling like they're seeing a different side of you almost. It's like how it is they perceived you at one point in time, or how they thought you were, or what they thought it was that the two of you had or were going towards. It's like that's now in question, right? Now, something I can tell you that's positive about this. If this is like a newly formed connection, I can even say like within like 3 months that you guys were, have been talking, right? This would be a little more alarming for me if this is like a year or something. But if you guys have been talking like for a 3-month period, I can say this is kind of normal for things like this to happen. I would even say like up until, yeah, no, maybe very, very rarely, I would say 6 months, but I would say in a 3-month period, because that's kind of when our masks start to come down. The representative, goes on a very long vacation. And it's like all the faults, flaws, and stuff that we have that we've been trying to cover up start to rear their ugly head. And we start to see less than stellar things in a connection. But on the other side of this, Scorpio, like y'all gonna have to tell me in the comments because y'all know I'd be liking to know. I really feel something what's going on with my voice, Jesus. Something happened that's pretty big, but not big to where it's like someone being exposed. I don't feel this is at the caliber of I found out this person had a whole nother person. It's not that level, but it's just something that would happen to where it's like, why I never would have thought you were like that. I would have never expected that from you type of vibe that I'm getting, to where it would put this person in a headspace to where they're kind of questioning everything. And I mean, anger is a potential way for that to happen. Like, say if I don't know, you guys got into an argument and Scorpio like flashed out and threw a vase against the wall or something like that. And this person has never seen you angry. And it's like to see you go from 0 to 100 like that. It's like, whoa, I would have never thought this from this person. And that's like unsettling, a little scary, right? Going back to their overall energy, like typical me would like block them and run, but I'm trying to not be that person anymore. So I'm trying to be understanding with the weighing thoughts. I'm kind of now fact checking everything. I'm going back and thinking about, I remember on our first date when they was late on our food. I remember, when it was a month we were together and that time we was, in the car and that person cut them off in traffic. So it's kind of them running through this reel of things. You feel what I'm saying? But none of this is being communicated to you, which is what I feel the issue is, and why I feel like you're both disaster thinking, to be honest. And why like Scorpio can feel hella disappointed, because I feel like it's the lack of clarity that's leaving Scorpio only with what you have in assumptions. And it's like kind of fearing the worst with this. Now, in their conscious thoughts, with this being the Hierophant in the reverse, if this person, if you guys were leading, or let me say it this way. If the intention or Scorpio's desire was for this person to like commit to you, or bring this to a higher level of commitment, like marriage, or proposing to you, or whatever the case, or moving in together, whatever, it's like just graduating to another level. I can tell you with the Hierophant in the reverse being in their conscious thoughts that they're fully aware that this is something that's kind of on ice right now, because it's a lot of reluctance with them, because they're not, it's like, I don't really know who I'm dealing with anymore. You feel what I'm saying? And that for them, it feels almost as if it's like, it's kind of scary, because like, I don't really know what we doing or who you are, or how angry do you get? Like, you throwing vases, are you going to throw me next time? Are you going to throw the vase at me? And I'm saying this hypothetically, but it's like any thoughts that they had of this kind of graduating to another level of commitment, whether that's like a title, with going from dating in a relationship. If you're in a relationship, this going to, them proposing to you, or getting married, or moving in together. I feel at present this is kind of on ice. And the reason for that is this person needs clarity. But once again, the pervasive, I don't know why I can't freaking talk today. The pervasive problem that I'm seeing with this is there is the potential here for this rift to be healed, but it's going to require communication, and there isn't communication. With your person of interest, they are trying to solve a problem with the same mind that created it, right? Not saying that they're the whole source of everything, but in the sense that they're trying to come to a conclusion and get clarity within themselves about you when they can't do that. You feel what I'm saying? Like they could make a judgment about you based on what they've observed up to this point, but that it wouldn't be that, like that's what I'm saying, of like it's a 50-50 kind of thing. They only have 50% of the data. It's like it's not coming to you for an explanation of what like the context clues are of the situation. You know what I'm saying? Did you have a bad day that day? Like were there vulnerability factors? Were you hangry? You know what I'm saying? Like had your dog died earlier that day? You know what I'm saying? It's other things that are important to know contextually for this person to make a decision so serious, but they're trying to make the decision without talking to you. And the reason why they're trying to make the decision without talking to you is because them being afraid of them now reacting, which is something that they're trying not to do. So it's the fear of if I talk to them, I may react, and then this could end up being blown even more out of proportion. But what I'm seeing is if they continue to try to get some sort of clarity with themselves, they're going to come to a skewed conclusion that without having all of the data, if that's making sense, right? Now, their subconscious impression, oh, well, that explains a lot. We have the Chariot in the reverse, covering up naked people. That's Cancerian energy. In this particular deck, the Chariot for me is my sneaking out the back door card. So what I can tell you about your person of interest, Scorpio, I mean, they really can't point or wag fingers at you too much because this person is hella avoidant, right? Whenever conflict is afoot, whenever they find themselves at a crossroads, they're a very indecisive person. Your person may be a Libra. They're a very indecisive person, and how it is that they typically cope with things is like, did I say that with you guys, or did I say that? Yeah, I did say that with you guys. That they see something they don't like, and the first reaction is like blocked. You know what I'm saying? They block a person and like keep it moving type of deal. So at the heart of it all, like the program that's running underneath this for them and what it is that they're holding themselves back from. So this is what the person's real issue is between the Strength and the Chariot and the reverse. This person has a tendency to run. They are a runner. Anytime conflict or challenges come up, it's too much for them. They become too indecisive. They don't necessarily trust their decision making. This could be even more exacerbated by past experience. So how it is that they deal with challenging situations is they run. So we think about fight, flight, or freeze. They are all flight, right? And it's like for them, they just cut ties and never look back, you know, because the scary thing happened. I'm just going to run this out into the future. This is going to turn out bad. This is going to be a terrible idea, worst case scenario. So I'm running. Now, the problem with this is this person is, their growth would be stunted with this because they've never actually worked through anything. So when it comes to experience in that arena of working through stuff, they don't have much of that. But the thing that I say I can give this person just a smidget of leeway is the fact that they're trying to hold themselves back from reacting the way that they usually do. You feel what I'm saying? Now, the only thing I'm saying is, again, this is looking at this from this person's perspective. They're feeling like, okay, I didn't block Scorpio, right? But I don't really know about this right now. They're not thinking about what it's like on your end, because what Scorpio is seeing is you're not talking to me. You don't know where their headspace is at. Hence the reason why you're watching this reading in the first place, right? So you don't know if this person will never speak to you again. You don't know if this person is completely over you. So even though in their mind they haven't completely cut ties or they haven't blocked you, proverbially speaking, they may as well have, because how they're behaving is exactly as if they would have blocked you. You feel what I'm saying? You're just not blocked, if that's making sense, right? So with this in the sense of their subconscious impression, how this formulates into a projection is very similar to what I was seeing in Capricorn, who I did before you. So if that's relevant, check that out. It's more or less projecting the problem onto Scorpio, right? So, and I could say this, if I were to play this out, if Scorpio were to call this person on level 100, right, because they haven't talked to you in like a week since this happened, this person would see like Scorpio as a problem. They would look at Scorpio coming at them at level 100 as the issue of just like, this is confirmation for the fact that this person is not who it is I thought they were. They are so irate, they are so erratic, but they're not thinking, oh, wait, I haven't talked to them or returned any of their phone calls in a week. Maybe that has something to do with why Scorpio is on level 10. You feel what I'm saying? So with them, it's a level of self-sabotage and them not necessarily seeing the hand that they can contribute to it. You know what I'm saying? Or not understanding, like if they have a track record of people who dislike them that they dated in the past, it's like, to them, it's like, I didn't lead them on. It's like I blocked them. So I made it like super clear I didn't want to deal with you anymore. So I don't understand why all my exes like think that I'm, an F boy or an F girl, because, I cut ties with them and made it very clear I didn't want to be with them anymore. And it's like, so that's your perception. But what you actually did was just block them. Everything was fine one day and then suddenly you blocked them and never spoke to them again. I can understand from your perspective how you see that as making it very clear that you didn't want to be with them anymore. However, on the receiving end of that, that's not really how a person would receive that. It's like, oh, I'm blocked. Clearly, they're telling me that this isn't going to work out and they don't want to be with me anymore, right? So this person, even though they're attempting or desiring to make a change, they're not seeing that they're still engaging in the same behavior. It's like same pig, different coat. You feel what I'm saying? They're still doing the same avoidant behavior. It looks a little better, but at the heart of it, it's still the same behavioral pattern, if that's making sense, right? Now, this person's feelings towards you, oh geez. We have the 7 of Swords in the reverse. So here's the deal. With your person, how they're feeling about you at this present time, they feel as if they're pretty clear, right? It's their perception of this, and I have to stress this, Scorpio, like I told you guys before, it's like a 50% perspective, right? I might even go as far as to say like 25%, right? They don't have the whole story. But your person of interest is perceiving this in their mind as if they have 360 degrees, 100% of a perspective. At this present time, their feelings in reference to that is if whatever transpired revealed a truth to them about you that you didn't want them to see. And kind of like their feeling space with it, like those of you who are like, my subbies and know when I talk about the 7 of Swords, I say like, what you skip will trip you up later. It's like their perspective would be that later is now. So all of this time you fooled me, you tricked me. You never showed this side of yourself, but it's like this situation happened and now you showed your ass, right? And once again, that's coming from this place with this Chariot in the reverse, which is a suspicion, which is an avoidance, which is a distance, right? Coming into a relationship with 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was looking at you side-eyed from jump type of vibe. And it's like, haha, I knew something was up. I knew that you were hiding something. I knew that there was more to this. I knew that this was too good to be true kind of vibe. You know what I'm saying? So with this person, they feel they're seeing a whole truth about this, but I can tell you they're literally not. And I can say on your end, Scorpio, you're not seeing the whole truth either. Like I say, even with you watching this reading, there's still more to this whole situation than you're aware of. You know what I'm saying? You may have been at 25% and this reading got you to 50, but you still don't have the other 50. You feel what I'm saying? So I feel with this person, to kind of encapsulate what I'm gathering from them, this is a self-protection or defense mechanism that they use, to where at the root of it, there's a fear of getting close to people. There is a fear of committing. There is a fear of being all in. And whenever something like this happens, they will interpret it as if God was protecting me. The universe revealed it to me. I see the truth of this situation, and I'm potentially like dodging a bullet. You feel what I'm saying? But they're not 100% on that bandwagon, because I do see with this person, there's some level of behavior modification with them. So like you see my hands doing this. It's like typically they would go all the way this way, but I'm seeing them kind of ticking right to the middle. So as opposed to doing this, they're here, but regardless of if they're here or they're here, they're still on this wavelength. They're still on this side of the proverbial Likert scale, if you will, right? They're not at point number 10, but they're at point number 5. But because they're on the same line, they're the same vibration. So it really doesn't matter if you're at 10 or you're at 5. It's the fact that you're still on this side of the Likert scale that is the problem. It's just the illusion thereof of progress, or the illusion thereof of change. You feel what I'm saying? But going back to what I'm saying overall, I don't know, the level of connection you have with this person, how much you care about this particular person. There is the potential for you guys to get past this hump. However, it would require the two of you to have honest communication, and it would require both of you to come into this. And I say specifically your person of interest, it would really require them to come into that conversation without bias. You know what I mean? Without them already having, the ending of the sentence without the beginning, and not coming into it like where I already know where this is gonna, end up. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's a skewed perspective. They don't have the whole story, but they feel as if they do. So it's almost their perspective is them feeling as if you were exposed, and as if you were trying to hide this side of yourself, and you got exposed, and now, they see it in a sense, and them trying to weigh what they're going to do about that. You feel what I'm saying? I hope and pray that that makes sense, Scorpio. But I'm going to throw the dice of resonance. So go ahead and ask a yes or no question. I was trying to keep all of these readings under 30 minutes. I did it for like the first 3 signs, and it's just been rogue since then. All right. So we have Leo, Cappy, female, sun, and lover. So this person can be a Leo sun or a Capricorn sun. Did I mention Leo's reading, or did I mention Capricorn's reading? One of them signs, child. I feel like I mentioned somebody's soul session here. But anywho, so lover, Leo, female, Cappy, and sun. And with your question, it said ask again. So we're going to roll the dice again. That means you need to say your question out loud, Scorpio. Yell your question at the phone. Say it out loud. Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. My opposite sign. Say it with your chest. Ask your yes or no question with your chest. Out loud. Because if you don't say it out loud, it's going to say ask again. I'm serious. It's happened with several signs. Like I had to roll like 3 times for Virgo. The answer, thank you for saying it out loud, Scorpio. The answer to your question is yes. C. It is yes. So lover, Leo, female, Cappy, sun, and the answer to your question is yes. So Scorpio, that has been your connection session for August. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Also tell me, what is this thing that happened to where this person feels like they exposed you, or you got exposed, or whatever? Please tell me, or message me if you don't want to say it in the comments. But anyway, I love your freaking face, and